when did you guys start using Cosmos? Let's introduce potential customers.
Um, I think we started last year.
No, of course we started last year,
Yeah.
but like October or November, either October or November. When did you launch on Cosmos 2.0? That's when we started using it.
That was I think that was November.
Now I'm testing your memory.
Yeah, you tested my memory, and it is not that
I
good.
think we did it slightly before the 2.0, so
Is
it
it?
was
Yeah,
Oh
you
yeah,
guys started a bit before. Yeah, I do remember you started showing up on our metrics slightly before we launched on Product Hunt.
yeah.
So last year October. That's been quite a while. That's amazing. And how did you find out about us? Because it was not Product
yeah,
Hunt.
found out about it. Yeah, it wasn't. So yeah, found out about it.
Yeah, it wasn't on Product Hunt, I think, for the first one. So I think I was searching or reading somewhere about it before. So I roughly
Mm-hmm.
remembered like video conferencing, like a tool with
Uh-huh.
characters in it. And I know that it wasn't Gather Town. So I was like searching for
Uh-huh.
this alternative, and then I think I landed on the website eventually on Google search. Yeah.
Oh,
So
amazing. Yeah.
that's how I signed up for that account and everything. Yeah. So the Google
Oh,
search
that's
was
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, she's the main driver of adoption for Cosmos in the office, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I
Uh-huh.
like to use new things and it's cute. So yeah, because in October they had the heightened alert in Singapore, and we
Uh-huh.
couldn't go back to our office because work from home is default for most businesses. And
Uh-huh.
so like we were like thinking, like Zoom and all, it's just very boring. We wanted a
Uh-huh.
office space, a virtual office space. Yeah.
Also, half our team is remote, so they're not in Singapore.
Mm.
So yeah,
Um,
I wanted to ask you more about your team as like
yeah,
how big is your team? How
team
are
is
they
around
where are they
15.
based?
Yeah, so team
Uh-huh.
is around 15.
Mm-hmm.
About half of them are here based in Singapore. The rest of them are based in Indonesia or India.
Mm.
Indonesia and India. So they're in and so they are in the same time zone, like similar-ish time zone, two, three
Similar-ish
hours.
time zone.
Similar time zone.
Yeah, it spreads out like so.
Cambodia also.
Well, yeah, Cambodia one.
Cambodia
So
as well.
we have like in GMT +8, +7,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
+5.5, right, for India.
So you
So
have like range
yeah,
plus minus
Yeah.
2, 3 hours.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And and your team was always this big, or were you growing around the same time?
No, our team was only built last year actually. Like we started expanding the team. Yeah, primarily last year.
Mm.
So you expanded your team, and then COVID lockdowns happened, and then
Well,
GS started to
yes,
look for.
correct. So it was a bit of both, where we expanded the team. There was more remote people,
Uh-huh.
um, and yeah, with more like lockdowns and restrictions, we couldn't. Sorry, is it very noisy here?
No, no, it's fine. It's
Okay,
fine.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a mix of both those factors because we ended up making hires that were remote, and
Mm-hmm.
also even with with our local team, we couldn't really get into the office.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so it kind of like, and so when your team grew and you started to kind of like feel the pain or the problems, like what were those, what made Gia like go on and say, okay, I'm gonna go search for something. What were the problems you were facing? If you were to like go back to that like that
Yeah, I
snapshot.
think it's mainly because we were feeling very distant.
Uh-huh.
Because we were in office for a period of time before
Mm-hmm.
October. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
in July, like June, July, August. We
Yeah.
were still in office, and
Mm-hmm.
then when this happened, then we were like, oh, we miss like being together in the office and like just chit chatting, like going up to a person and asking for something,
Mm-hmm.
so like the real life interaction. And then I remembered that there was like the virtual office that had like the space, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's why I went to search for it and then started using the free version. Yeah.
So
Make
for me, my main like if I was to describe the pain,
mm-hmm.
it was having a mix of remote and like staff in-house. So
Mm-hmm.
with like the staff in-house, you're always interacting, but the remote team is so disengaged with whatever's going on in the office,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no way to bridge that gap, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, previously we used to do things like play games on Zoom. So we would run things like if you're familiar with Jackbox games,
Jackbox games. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Which I mean, is there on a games table, similar things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those lighthearted games as well. So I think that's how like I think we were, dealing with that, like dealing with the distance. And also like I think this is like a feedback that I get to see many times when I ask employees for like how satisfied they are.
Yeah.
Typically everything's great except for like that engagement part, especially for people who are remote.
So were your employees complaining about it, or did they start to bring it
Like
up?
it was lackluster engagement.
Mm.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So
And
yeah.
so this is an I want to actually double click on this one. So oftentimes what happens is um, all remote leaders or managers often when they hear this feedback of oh engagement is low, the first in like knee-jerk reaction to that is okay, let's do like more Zoom socials basically. Let's put everybody on Zoom. Let's organize a game, and hopefully engagement will get better, right? I've also done it. I
Yeah,
think
we've done that.
yeah,
Yeah.
we all went through that journey. What was your learning that okay, this is not it. We need something more or something different than
It's really
doing
just
this.
the step up, I think, Karan, is that there is a avatar that you can control, right? So you're actually a person. So you're like, it's more interactive. And the fact that you can
Mm.
walk up to a person in digital space, like, so if I'm in
Mhm,
another room, I'll just
mhm,
like fly over and like, ask her a question, right?
mhm.
Um, so like having that ability is a
Mm.
very close emulation of like how you would interact
Yeah.
with people in an actual workspace.
I mean,
Mhm.
for us, we actually used a lot of Discord before we go on to Cosmos. So we
Oh.
enjoyed Discord's like voice talking and
Mhm,
we were playing like we were doing a lot of prototype testing of our product, which is like this product right that we have
mhm,
the board game on like
mhm,
on Discord because it was just easier to speak and then like doing other things instead of using Zoom.
mhm,
And it's also more casual, I guess. And you
mhm.
don't have to click on a link every time as well for
Yeah,
Cosmos.
you don't have to get a link.
And we are
Mhm.
not on a paid version of Slack, which has that function now. So yeah, we're still saving money, but not going on like the paid version of Slack. So yeah, that's why
Mhm.
we use Discord because it was like free. Yeah.
And when you found Cosmos, how did you start using it? Like, so you had a 15 people team.
Hmm.
How did you decide to use Cosmos, or how are you
I
using
mean,
Cosmos?
we are in two different teams. Like one is
Mm-hmm.
the board game side, the other one is the SaaS product.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we do is we really started using it as a morning stand-up. Yeah, so like and then we are just situated in the office afterwards so that we can
Mm-hmm.
have like more the huddles for like meetings or discussions uh like more organically. Like we don't have
Well,
to set up a time and you know.
So
makes
I think
sense.
I think Jazz team. So she leads the Potato Pirates team. I lead the
Mm-hmm.
Wolfpack team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Her team had a lot more of the adoption for like just staying on Cosmos the whole day, like or most of the day.
At the start of
Mm-hmm.
when we were using it.
I never used to do that because it just used to wreck my RAM, right?
Yes, it used to. Yeah. Yeah.
At the start,
Um, I mean now it's of course much better, but like it still does that because I mean I use like one of the oldest Macs in the entire office. Like everyone here has like an M1 Mac. I'm on like a 2014.
Also, you have different. So you have. This is very interesting because this we always see in teams that different people use Cosmos differently.
Now
Um.
it's more even because like we've been working from home entirely for a long time. We've
Mm-hmm.
only just started coming back into the office this week.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
So now it's a bit more different. But because we had to go fully remote over the past month, I think there's a lot more adoption um, from all teams. And also, I think over the past month, our usage, like our requirement for having more in meetings and discussions has
Increase,
drastically
yeah,
increased.
for both
Makes
teams, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah.
makes sense. So just to kind of like answer a question here for, let's say, some for our viewers. Um, Say for example, some people in the team stay, like Gia did, and then Aditya, you came in for a meeting and you went offline. Then how
Mm.
would Gia talk to you when she wanted to talk to you?
Slack. And then I would go back on Cosmos.
Slack, yeah, we
Oh,
will use Slack. Yeah.
so you'll get a ping that, hey,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you, and then
Mhm.
you jump
Precisely.
back in.
Exactly. And that
So
happens.
Yeah, because we like to go off
this is
Cosmos.
very interesting because in the earlier days,
Mm. Yeah, we are not hearing you for a while. It's cutting off. Yeah. Oops.
Uh, hi, Karan. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, you're back now.
I dropped off. So yes, I was saying that is it possible for us to kind of get a tour of your office if you could screen share?
Oh,
Sorry for putting you on the spot.
yeah, no,
Uh,
it's fine.
Our Cosmos
Our
office.
Cosmos office or a physical office?
Cosmos office.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, we are using the medium size one that is, um, and we also had the opportunity to customize it because we had a last user call,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't have time to create the design for
Or you
Cosmos office, like a custom Cosmos office.
you maybe you can just send us a floor plan of your real
Yeah,
office and we can replicate it.
yeah, yeah.
That'll be super cool. Okay, I'm sharing my screen with you. Just hold on.
That's amazing. I'll just
Did I share the right screen? Wait, oh, let me do this over.
Do not use the video one. Use the share video.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Advanced settings. Good.
Okay. So I'm sharing it in 1080 now. I was
awesome. Yeah,
sharing
yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah.
this
Okay.
one. Okay, cool. Yeah. So this is our office.
I mean, we didn't change anything,
Yeah.
because it was like we
It's
didn't have time during
oh,
the
you were adopted a pet, I see.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
our
Two pets.
our team was very um, excited about the pets. There
That's
were like
amazing.
some cheers when like the pets
Mm,
were announced actually, and I'm pretty sure like we asked for this feature when we spoke to your team the last time.
yeah,
Yeah, pets have been heavily asked for feature. Awesome. So this is your office, and you've put on your
yeah,
logo.
yeah. We put a logo
So this
on
is
the
where the
wall.
Potato Pirates
Yeah,
teams usually huddles, and
Uh-huh.
this is our Jack team. So we have the logos on the floor.
yeah, yeah. So and I'm the one that customized it because I'm the owner, right? So yeah, we don't really
Awesome.
have much.
And also you have two pets, and this is the Roll Jack team, and they're doing I think they're doing a stand-up, I guess,
Yeah,
or
doing
maybe it's just
They're just
happening.
doing.
mm.
So
This is
how does
pretty cool.
that
They just follow you around.
work?
Yeah, we really tried. You can type in the chat to ask them to follow you.
Yeah, there are right now two commands. You'll have to put them in the chat. So one is like hair, and you could do the pet's name, and it'll come to you. And shoe is like
Oh, we love that
getting.
snowball. You can see
So the
that.
snowball was something I asked for. I didn't ask for a snowball. I just said like I want a way to like you know
Um,
physically assault people.
like play catching. Yeah, that's what he said in the previous call we had with
Yeah, I wanted
Abby, I
some
think.
sort of like a like a you want to poke the person or like just annoy them, right? I just wanted that feature.
Yeah, annoying. Yes, yes, yes. And it came in several ways. People wanted to like ability to punch, or like
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
customers asked for like moving, punching, kicking.
Yeah.
And then we were brainstorming and snowballing came about. That's amazing. So this is pretty cool. So and I'll go to the next one. Aditya and Jaya, like, now that your team has been using Cosmos for a while, uh, what what emotion do you think it helps your team feel, or like how does your team express about Cosmos, or like how do they talk about it?
Um, Typically, they're like, "Oh wow, Cosmos is really upping their game, huh?" Like they're more excited about Cosmos than Rollback. So that annoys me. I think they're very passionate about it, and we were looking at your Canny also, Canny.io,
Uh-huh.
and we were because we are contemplating using that also to get more feedback from users because typically we do it through like user calls and like other
Mm-hmm.
ways of getting feedback, but we don't have a Canny account yet. Um, yeah, so I mean we were just looking at that and then like, oh wow, they're actually building the pets feature, like
Mm-hmm.
so I think everyone's quite passionate about what you all are building.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
really very passionate.
So when we first came in, like the emotion
Mm-hmm.
that they felt was like it really feels like being in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were really not in the office for a few months at a time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they felt like it's more bonded. Like the team is more bonded because they can just talk to one another like freely, you know, um, and like at least see the person as an avatar.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Yeah, and we can play games easily also on Cosmo. So it was helps to relax, like de-stress and relax the team.
Mm-hmm.
Karan, I want you to introduce you to Tammy, who is your biggest supporter in the
Hi.
office. Tammy
Hi,
loves
Tammy. Nice to
Cosmos.
meet
I
you.
do
Karan
love
is
Cosmos.
Karan is founder of Cosmos Video.
Nice to
Oh
meet you. Nice to
wow!
meet you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice to meet you. Yes,
We
Yeah,
I managed to rope the project people onto
yeah. So she has
Cosmos. So
increased the adoption for our Rojak team, the SaaS team, who didn't really use it much before.
uh-huh.
So she has
Uh-huh.
increased it a lot,
Yeah, she was from
and
the Purdue Pirates team.
So
and
Tammy, what's the secret? How do you increase adoption? How do
oh,
you get people to spend?
plus for our team, right? We have like a UI UX group. So
Uh-huh.
before that, like we're having issues. Let's say like if we're trying to bounce ideas off, maybe we work and then we said like, okay, let's meet at the end of the day. But we realized like there are a lot of smaller touch points that we were missing because we weren't in the office. So I
Uh-huh.
was just like, okay, stay on focusing.
Uh-huh.
When I need you to see something, I'll let you know.
Uh-huh.
And we use that a lot. And I think we've also got to know each other a bit better through that. Yeah, those interactions.
Oh, that's amazing. And
yeah, and
and do
she's
you think
super
people are
excited
less?
about
The
Sorry,
she's
pets.
say
super
that again.
excited about the pets.
Yeah, we were playing with it just now.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite pet then?
We love the cat because it looks like our office cat.
Who does it? Oh
Yeah.
wow. Oh, that's amazing. That was we wanted to build like a product hunt kitty. So
hmm
that's our interpretation of a product hunt kitty. It
Oh,
also
I
has
see.
it
Okay,
also has some glasses.
close enough. That's very close. Yeah.
The
We love
AR glasses, yeah, it does have that. So that's pretty cool. And do you think the team in the start had some inhibitions to sit like to sit there and have like their audio on or something just because it felt like Cosmos would invade in their space, and that's gone. Has it, like, do you first think that might have happened when they didn't want to stay on Cosmos?
Um, I don't think so. I think because we did Cosmos directly to fix an issue, which
Hmm.
we talked about like in our meeting. So we're just saying like it's hard to get people when you need them at the right
Hmm.
timings.
Hmm.
And Cosmos, we just tried it out the first day and we said, okay, you know what, just stay in focusing, we hit you up, and then at the end of the day, we all agreed that yeah, this made a huge difference to what we needed. So it
Hmm.
wasn't like invasion of privacy. It was much more like this is solving a direct need that we have.
Oh, so you the team felt this problem and discussed about it. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I think it
Mm.
was brought up in our retrospective. So
Yeah.
like our spring retrospective.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and then like that's why I went to look for alternatives.
Makes sense. Okay. So that kind of bubbled up from the team. That's really interesting. And now that, like, say Singapore is opening up and you guys are back in the office, given you still have a remote team, how are US founders thinking about the company culture, or say like how does the team communicate going forward once say the offices open up as well, or would the offices open up? Like how are you thinking about this whole
No, I think it's pretty open already for offices now.
hmm
We were just seeing a spike of cases in the past month, which still is spiking, but I think everyone's just insensitive, desensitized
It's
to
an endemic. Yeah.
it. So um, I think because we still have a remote team,
Mm.
I see a clear use case of using Cosmos
hmm
for bringing everyone into a similar environment, like into a digital space where we all can be on par, regardless of whether we are in the office or not. Because all of our stand-ups, all of our calls still take place online, regardless of whether we are in the office or not.
Mm.
Previously, we over here, like in our meeting area, which still says Merry Christmas, sadly. Over here, we tried like putting a camera, um, a webcam, and then we could like stream, like, and we'd sit here and talk to the remote team also.
uh-huh.
Um, that also is not very feasible. So like we just stick to like getting on our own devices and then just talking to everyone remotely like that.
Remotely.
Right. So I think that's yeah, that's the way I think it will be going forward also.
Makes sense. So, so like, how would the workflow look like? So, say for example, if today one of your, say Tammy came to the office, would she get to the office and then what will she have to do? She'll have to log into Cosmos and do the meetings and stand-ups there.
Correct. And that's what everyone is doing, and that's what we did today also.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah,
And
and today we spent pretty much the whole day on Cosmos because we had sprint planning, which took
mhm,
like very long, so like 3-4 hours actually.
it
Um,
does take that, no?
yeah. So like from 10 a.m. we started, and then like the first half of our sprint planning only ended at about 12:30 or so,
Uh-huh.
with a couple of breaks in the middle, and then like we had another session in the afternoon. So and all of that is done on Cosmos.
Makes sense. So I'll ask.
And meanwhile, the engineers play like snowball fights.
That's amazing. So, one might, wonder, like, given you guys are using Cosmos, I think our viewers or say some person might ask this hard question that if, say, for example, Cosmos is helping the team feel bonded and be together, then why have the office? Uh,
Mm.
I think it's good to kind of like discuss it because we might learn something from there. So, like, how do you guys think about having the office? Like, why still have the office?
You want to go first?
Mm, I think for now, because we are not really developing like the product itself, like meaning the
Yeah.
board game itself.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the board games really require us to be in person in the office to play, test, and like look at the components, prototype the components and things like that. So, like the whole of last year when we were in the office,
Mm-hmm.
in like June, July, May, those period, it was really a lot of that, and that would really speed things up for us in terms of the product development side for Preo
Mm-hmm.
Pirates. But I think for the project side, they don't really need to be in the office like at all, in like a physical space
Yeah.
because it's a digital product, it's a SaaS product. So that's not really necessary
Very
for them.
interesting point. It's the nature of your business in a way because you're
Well, I mean,
building
right
a
now,
physical product.
precisely, and right now because we are not in product development for any like physical items, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like our product focus is on the SaaS product. Yeah, I definitely think that you don't need you can have a fully remote team for a SaaS product.
Mm.
And I think that our team is actually, so as an employer, you may feel like, if I have a remote team, I don't even know what they're doing most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but like we have that level of trust with our team, and I think our team is very solid. Like they get work done, regardless of like me or Jeshwan having to be around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think I mean, it is the future of work, and I think people can definitely be more productive. In fact, I am more productive when I work remotely,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because here you just you end up like just having conversations and stuff, which is actually very delightful in its own way. But if we're talking strictly about productivity and whether it can actually be achieved with a nice balance of having interaction with people and still like having a bond,
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like you can definitely achieve that with a remote team
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
Cosmos.
using Cosmos. Yes.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for that. Yeah, I think you guys are in Singapore, and Singapore is not that difficult to commute to offices.
Mm,
So for you guys, that's not that big a problem.
yeah.
Uh, for us here in London, like when I was working in my previous job, it took me about 55 minutes, I remember, to get into the office. I actually moved places because I was
Right,
living too
right.
far. But anyways, super interesting and super like valuable learnings for us as well. Given you guys have like used this for a while, you are building product. You guys have very like critical eye. What problems do you still see in Cosmos, or what things do you think we still should like improve and like work on?
Mm,
So the first thing that comes to my mind,
Mm-hmm.
completely from a utility perspective,
Mm-hmm.
screen share is still like is pretty flaky.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
yeah.
we can't really see other people's stuff a lot of times,
Oh yeah.
depending on their connection. Um,
Yeah, especially because like the connection sometimes I think it's really weak for like remote people, like the remote team, right? And then when they screen share, it's
Mm-hmm.
really pixelized and we cannot really see.
It's not
And then
really.
they end
mm,
up going on to Zoom instead,
yeah,
like or
Oh.
yeah.
something
A lot of
because of
times, dev calls or pair programming ends up being on Zoom because like you need the other person's screen and you need to be able to see that.
like it is the detailed
Yeah,
for the
or
yeah.
if we're looking at figures like on a spreadsheet or like marketing numbers, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Mm-hmm.
things just don't really work that well on
Yeah, I mean
Cosmos
we
right
have
now.
to really zoom in the text, like we have to press the command plus plus
Several
in
times.
yeah a few times for them to be able to see the text.
But of course, as you know, Karan, early adopters are very forgiving. So
Yes. Thanks a lot for that. It's screen share. Screen share. I also feel that it's still it's the it it is a reasonably hard problem, but yeah, it is like from the customer perspective. You want to look like you have to collaborate, and a big part of collaboration is looking at the same thing.
Yeah,
So we've recently like been iterating on it. We the whole settings thing, like I thought that would have fixed the problem, but that seems that it has not.
I
yeah,
mean
So we need to
they
do
help
like a
a
couple of
little
more.
bit with the latest set the screen share settings. It help a
Hmm.
little bit more, but it's
Hmm.
still not at the level with the connectivity. It might be the internet connection for like our remote workers.
It makes sense. And okay, so this definitely we'll iterate on, because today with the whole product and launch, we need to do another sprint planning, or say planning session. So this is going to be again top of mind for us to fix. And anything else which comes to mind? So screen share is one big piece.
Mm. I think nothing much, but yeah, like I think private messaging on Cosmos with notification will help. I think you it's in progress, right? So yeah. Um
Private. Okay, so you'd want DMs with notifications.
yeah.
Um, Makes sense. And the use for that is to share information during meetings, or to use DMs as, say, like replacement for Slack.
Mm, I would say that it can be a replacement for Slack
Oh,
in the
eventually.
long run,
Yeah,
in the long
in
run,
long
yeah.
eventually.
run,
Yeah.
it will. Okay, makes sense. So you want us to build Slack now, huh? Pretty
Yeah.
It's
cool.
only Slack.
Huh?
I said it's only Slack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only Slack. That's
I don't
totally
think we expect the file sharing yet, but like sharing of
file
media.
sharing.
Yeah, I don't think we expect that for for Cosmos. So that's like it's mainly for like yeah, talking to the person. I mean, the video message one, I don't really know. I don't think we have ever used it for now.
Video messages, yeah.
I don't think we have used it yet.
Video messages aren't that used. We are actually thinking of repurposing it in so just using the same functionality, but repurposing it for meeting summaries, because now we have this whole piece around meetings, right? So
Yeah,
we are bringing in meeting notes, and we'd also want to bring in a lot of times, like after the meeting, I also feel the need of like recording like a 2 minute message where I share my screen and say, hey, this is what we discussed and this is a summary. So we'll repurpose video
yeah,
message for that, and then they'll go into Slack, and for the team who are not there, it kind of like brings visibility and people can understand, oh, okay, this is cool.
yeah. I think that that will be more useful for a lot of people. Mm.
That's pretty cool. Awesome. So I've finished all the questions we had planned. So the case study, I think we're done.